Woo! What's going on, guys? Owens Forum coming at you with another video. In today's video, we're talking about the aftermath, Week 12, Lions at Colts. Lions winning this game 24-6. Lions going up to 10-1, still first place in the NFC North, and the Colts falling down to 5-7, still, I believe, second place in the AFC South. Lions go 4-0 versus the AFC South, beating the Texans, the Jaguars, the Colts, and the Titans. So the Lions win this game in pretty much dominating fashion and don't even really play a complete game. I love the way their defense played, though. Their defense played a complete game. Offense, they didn't really struggle offensively. I guess now when we just look at this football team, we expect this team to score 30-something points. It just kind of seems like that. To put up 24, Goff didn't throw any touchdowns. I thought he was pretty good, though. He looked a little bit flustered kind of later into this game. It was the first time I kind of seen Goff look a little bit, put out a little bit flustered. You can see in his face a little bit, shaking his head a lot, coming off the sidelines, because the Colts actually played an okay game defensively, holding that team to 24 points. That's very impressive. But let's talk about what happened during the game. We'll talk about some injuries, some inactives, whatever. The Lions, it was like a mass unit. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond had hurt his foot. It was on a punt return. Yesterday, after the game, Dan Campbell kind of voicing the same concerns, saying that he seems to be the only guy that he's really concerned about going down the line. So possibly this Thursday, we got a game, on the short turnaround, playing the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving Day game. So we'll do more on that in the next day or two. I know today's injury report came out. There's a lot of guys that sat. Could be a lot of rest going on, but you kind of had to practice on a Monday after the game because of the Thursday matchup. Normally, we'd have the Monday off because if we play the next week on Sunday, they would, the coaches would usually give you a day or two rest. But this kind of you got to come back around. These guys got to play. Got to practice, whatever. It's not going to be a physical practice, but you're going to see these guys practicing. So left tackle, Taylor Decker. Right leg, there's the puppy. He got hurt during this football game. He ended up coming back, though, after a couple series. One or two series it was. Nothing too serious. It looks like he's going to be good to go. Running back David Montgomery had a shoulder injury a little bit later on in the game. He never did come back in that football game. He says he's going to be ready to go, but he didn't practice today either. And then quarterback Carlton Davis III had a knee injury, was visibly limping off the field. We'll see what happens more with that. Terrion Arnold didn't play on this football game. You guys know about Alex Anzalone. A couple new injuries happening with his lines. It seems something happen every week right now with these injuries. So more on Davis, don't know. We'll find out more. Terrion Arnold did practice, like I said today, but he also practiced on Friday. He's a full practice on Friday and didn't suit up. So maybe they were saving him for this Thursday. That's my guess. So it could be Terrion Arnold and a Kindell Vildor or a Khalil Dorsey. Vildor did not look good, guys. We don't expect him to look good as a backup to a backup. He's not a starting guy by any stretch. And he got beat a couple times. I thought he played a little bit better down later in the game. I think a little bit better, but he got beat a couple times pretty good. A lot of Lions fans getting upset, but you can't expect much from a guy like Kindell Vildor. Especially stopping number one wide receivers, number two wide receivers, whatever. It's not going to happen. So hopefully Davis is okay for this week. We're going to see what happens on Wednesday for sure. Wednesday will be the final report, that you can kind of get a gauge on what's going to happen. So we'll know more then. Colts wide receiver Ashton Doolin with an ankle injury. He did not return in that game. And then wide receiver Josh Downs was a good one. Had a shoulder injury. He returned a little bit later on in that game. Now let's go with stats. We'll do Lions because they are the road team. We'll go the offense first. Quarterback Jared Goff was consistent at 26 for 36. 72% completion percentage. Crisp, 269 yards. No touchdowns, no picks, though. He did have a fumble. No fumbles lost, though. He did have a fumble. But I thought he was okay. Like, he was flushed out a lot. Like we talked about, he was flushed out. He was sacked like 3 times. He was on the run a lot. He made some throws on the run, which were pretty nice. It's not really his game. That's not really his game. Get flushed out. Maybe that's why he was kind of getting a little bit flustered. He wasn't able to kind of set himself just for enough time to get the ball to where he wanted to deliver the football. And the 72% completion percentage, you can't scoff at that. You can't get mad at it. He did what he did. At least he did not give up the ball. He almost threw a pick in that game, one or two picks. I had one for sure that looked like it kind of went off the Colts' hands. He maybe should have had it, but I thought he played a decent game. They played a decent game. Rushing, running back Jahmyr Gibbs, 21 for 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.3 yards a carry. He was crisp. He was good. He looked explosive. 2 touchdowns again. Add it to the resume. Running back David Montgomery was 8 for 37. He didn't get as many carries, obviously, because they kind of like to. Ben Johnson kind of likes to divvy that up pretty fairly even, and obviously him getting hurt kind of stopped that. He did have a touchdown though at 4.6 yards a catch. 4.6 yards a carry, and he did have a fumble recovery. I think he recovered what's it called, Jared Goff's football that he fumbled. So we had 137 yards on the ground as a team, so that's pretty nice. Receiving, wide receiver Jamison Williams had 5 catches for 64 yards, 12.8 yards a catch on 7 targets. Wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown had 6 catches for 62 yards, 10.3 yards a catch, 7 targets. His touchdown streak ended at 8. I think it was going back to last year. I think he was on an 11-game total streak, but this year ended at 8. Hey, he still was productive. 6 for 62, 10.3. He did his job. He was good. Wide receiver Tim Patrick, who I thought had a nice game, 4 catches for 55 yards, 13.8 yards a catch on 4 targets. Goff went to him 2 or 3 times on 3rd down, and they got the 1st down. He was a big target. He's a big boy, man. You got to start using him more, but he had a very nice game. Running back David Montgomery, 3 catches for 36 yards on 12 yards a catch, 3 targets. Tight end Brock Wright, 2 catches, 24 yards, 12 yards a pop, 2 targets. And then running back Jahmyr Gibbs had 3 catches for 9 yards on 3 targets, 3 yards a pop. So receiving, nothing big, no big numbers from these wide receivers, but consistent. I thought JMO and Amon-Ra really had a nice game. Defensively, linebacker Jack Campbell had 9 tackles and 2 pass deflects, 2 pass breakups, whatever you want to call them. Linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez had 8 tackles. He had a really nice game. Dan Campbell giving him one of the game balls that he hands out. I believe he hands out 2 or 3 game balls a game, and Malcolm Rodriguez got one, filling in for Anzalone, which was really nice. And then safety, Brian Branch had 4 tackles. Kirby Joseph, 4 tackles. Our safety duo was pretty quiet. Kirby almost had an interception diving for a ball, but it was a quiet day for those guys. Nose tackle, DJ Reader had a tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits. I believe he's banged up a little bit right now too as well. Defensive end, Zadarius Smith, 1 tackle, 2 quarterback hits. Lots of pressures. It looked like he got into the backfield of the Colts quite a few times. Laying the lumber on Anthony Richardson a few times. Just getting pressure, hitting him, doing what he's supposed to do. And then defensive tackle, Aleem McNeil had a tackle, quarterback hit. And then defensive lineman, Levi Nuzarike had a quarterback hit. I believe that quarterback hit, that one he was doing, it was either him or Pascal. I think it was him. He almost had it was very close to being a safety. Very close to being a safety. And I thought it was a sack, because it looked like he was in the grasp. It looked like he had him for about a good 2-3 seconds. He was kind of going backwards, and he kind of was falling, and he ended up throwing the ball, and it ended up hitting like the back of an Indianapolis Colts lineman. No flag on the play. I thought it could have been even be intentional grounding, but apparently it wasn't. I don't think they gave him the grounding. I thought it was a sack though. I believe it was Levi. I'm pretty sure it was Levi Nuzarike who was driving him into the end zone. And it looked like it could have been close to a safety, but at least a sack. We didn't get the sack. We didn't get the flag. That's okay. I think they punted after that anyways. And then Jake Bates was 3 for 3 on extra points, and he had a 1 field goal, 1 attempt, 56 yards with a boomer. It looked like it could have been 60 plus easily. 6 quarterback hits, all kinds of pressures, a couple pass breakups. The defense played lights out, 6 points again. This defense is for real. They're just a really good defense. They're just doing things. They haven't given up a touchdown in 10 quarters. Yes, I know we played Anthony Richardson. Yes, I know we played Mac Jones in those last 2 games. But they're still doing it, man. They're still doing it. They're still doing big things on this defensive line with a decimated lineup too. Lots of guys out, 5, 6 guys out. We got some guys slowly coming back, like Mosley and all that stuff. But man, guys are getting hurt, but other guys are stepping up. Colts offense, quarterback Anthony Richardson was 11 for 28, only 39% completion percentage. He was flustered pretty much the whole game. Even on the first drive when they drove all the way down the field, they looked like they were having their way with our defense at first. We held them to a field goal. Richardson looked a little bit pissed, looked a little bit angry about it because you got to score against this team. You got to score against the Lions or you're not going to win. And I mean, when I say score, I mean touchdowns, not just kick field goals like I've kind of explained a lot to a lot of Lions fans in the past. Kicking field goals is not going to really win you. Only field goals is not going to win you football games. And it's a reality. And if you're only just kicking field goals, you better have a lights out defense. Like, you know what I mean? You better have a Steelers defense who've done it twice this year. Boswell's kicked like 6 or 7 field goals in a game. So that's very rare that you're going to see that as well. But just, you got to score touchdowns, and he just did it. 172 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. He wasn't sacked once, though. No sacks against him, but pressured a lot and hit a few times as well, 6 times over. Rushing, quarterback Anthony Richardson, 10 carries for 61 yards and 6.1 yards a pop. He had a fumble. No fumbles lost, though. Running back Jonathan Taylor had 11. He was 11 for 35. Held him in check. Really good running back. 3.2 yards a pop, a fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. So he recovered both of those fumbles. 96 yards on the ground total for the Indianapolis Colts. Another excellent job by the defense of the Lions. And receiving, wide receiver Michael Pittman was 6 for 96. With 16 yards a pop, 7 targets. He had a nice day. Wide receiver Alec Pierce, 1 catch, 39 yards. 39 yards a catch on the 1, 4 targets. Wide receiver Josh Downs, 3 for 27 yards, 9 yards a pop, 7 targets. Wide receiver, the rookie Adonai Mitchell, 1 catch for 10 yards, 10 yards a pop, 3 targets. And that's it, man. Nothing really, a really nice game by Michael Pittman. I thought Downs was going to have a better game, but they held him pretty much in check. Now, defensively, for the Indianapolis Colts, safety Nick Cross had 14 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Had a nice game from him. Linebacker Zaire Franklin, 13 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a sack, and a QB hit. Linebacker EJ Speed, 11 tackles. Those 3 guys were what I was kind of worried about a little bit on this defense. They all kind of made plays right there. And defensive tackle DeForest Buckner had 7 tackles, a tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and a sack. Cornerback Samuel Womack III had 7 tackles. Defensive tackle Grover Stewart had 5 tackles. Defensive end rookie Latu, a guy that I really liked coming into the 2024 draft, had 4 tackles, tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and 1 sack. Safety Julian Blackman had 4 tackles and a pass breakup, pass deflect. Defensive end Dayu Odeyingbo had 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits. He was making his presence known as well. Defensive tackle Trayvon Bryan, 2 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, and then defensive end Tyquan Lewis had a quarterback hit. So they pressured Goff a lot. I thought they were getting under his skin a little bit. You could tell a little bit later on in the football game that, like I said, Goff was kind of getting a little bit flustered. He was getting a little bit flustered, especially in the 3rd, 4th quarter. But they were trying to do some things. They were pressuring him, getting him out of the pocket, making him run. That's how you're going to get into his head. If you make Goff run, it's something that he doesn't want to do. He does not want to throw on the run. He does not want to break out of the pocket and make plays with his legs. It's just something he doesn't want to do. He's a pocket passer. That's what he is. And I thought the Colts did a pretty good job on him. I thought the Colts did a good job. He completed 72% of his completion percent, his passes. No touchdowns though, but he didn't give up the ball, which was great. I thought, like I said earlier, that he might have gave up a pick on one bad throw, but he was good. Yeah, he was good all day. He was decent, and nothing wrong with what he did. But the defense, I thought, played well. I thought they played well. That Colts defense, they played against them pretty good. And then Matt Gay for them had 2 for 2 on field goals, long of 29. And then team stats. I'll do the team stats really fast, guys. Lions first. First downs, we had 26. Third downs, we were 9 for 15. Fourth downs, 0 for 1. Rush yards, went out 137. Pass yards, 253. Total yards, 390. Sacks and yards, 0 and 0 for the Lions. Interceptions thrown, 0. Punts and average, we punted 4 times for 48-yard average. Penalties and yards, we had 5 penalties for 45 yards. Fumbles and fumbles lost, we had 1 fumbled, 0 lost. Possession, we had the ball at 37 minutes and 0.1 seconds. So right there, pretty nice down the line there. Colts, only 11 first downs to our 26. Third downs, they were 3 for 12. Fourth downs, 0 for 1. They didn't get that either. Rushing, 96. Passing, 172. Total yards, 268. Sacks and yards, they had 3 sacks for 16 yards lost. Interceptions thrown, 0. Punts, on average, they had 6 punts for 52.8 yards. Penalties and yards, they had 10 penalties for 75 yards. Fumbles and fumbles lost, they had 2 fumbles, 0 lost. And the possession, 22 minutes, 59 seconds. So the Lions, up and down, beat these guys up without even really playing a complete football game. I thought they played a good football game. Don't get me wrong, there's no criticism. I'm not saying this is what they should have done. But it just seems right now, just coming from my perspective, is that, I'm used to this team scoring 30 plus points. I'm not bashing them. It's just, I don't think Goff played the cleanest game, not by his standards. I think he played a good game, but what I'm trying to say is that they kind of forced him into some things that he was very uncomfortable with, and it just showed a little bit in the score, But the defense, our defense, completely showed up. The only guy that really had a decent game for them was Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman, the wide receiver, had 6 catches, 96 yards. I'll take that all day. No touchdowns again. That's 10 quarters. 2 games straight. That's 8 quarters, and then plus the other 2 from before. The defense is playing lights out, and we didn't have any sacks. No sacks, no turnovers, no nothing like that. A lot of pressures. The sacks I would like to see come. They're not really, they come kind of in bunches right now. They come 3, 4 sacks one game, then we'll get 0 to 1. Then the next game is kind of goes up again. So it's coming in bunches. It's a little bit inconsistent in that area. That's still the one area that concerns me about this football team, and it's really the only thing that concerns me about this football team is their lack of sacks. That's the only thing. They're at least getting the pressures, though. I thought Aleem McNeil had a great game. Zadarius Smith was all over the place. Malcolm Rodriguez stepped up big time. Jack Campbell. I thought their defense was excellent. I can name a bunch of guys on that defense that is just lights out. That are playing lights out. Now offensively, Gibbs is doing his thing. Monty's scoring. We have so many touchdowns. We've done our running backs. It's insane. Nothing outrageous from our wide receivers or our quarterback, but consistent from the quarterback a little bit. It was a little weird with the quarterback situation. Like I said earlier, it wasn't the cleanest, only because the way the Colts played him, and I thought they played him pretty good, making him, flushing him out of the pocket, trying to get to him. So in that way, I'm not criticizing Goff by any stretch because he's been great all year. He's had 1 or 2 bad games, but it doesn't even matter. 10-1. 10-1, this football team. They are a juggernaut of a football team. The injuries are piling up, though. The injuries are piling up to the point where we're starting to get a little bit concerned. Like, now we're looking at corners. Who are we going to put in there? Man, we're going to put a rookie in with a guy like Kendall Vildor or a Khalil Dorsey. Is that what we're doing here? So I wouldn't be surprised if you see this team picking up a guy within the next 24 hours, if they haven't already. There's guys out there. Are they going to make a difference? Probably not. But they're going to start adding some guys to that practice squad. Because I don't think we have a lot of guys on the practice squad that are corners. Not that I'm just trying to look at the practice squad through my head. Could take a while. That could take a while, but I don't I don't see a lot of corners on this practice squad right now. I can't think of any. I really can't think of any. There's got to be one or two. I know they picked up a Kavion Merriweather last week, but I believe he's a safety. I think who can play some corner. So I'd have to look at it again. But top of my head, I don't think there's any guys out there on the practice squad right now on our practice squad that can get elevated, and that could happen. That could happen soon. That they go need to pick somebody up. But it was a great game by the Lions, man. We play up next the Chicago Bears, 12:30 p.m. this Thursday, Thanksgiving Day game. Happy Thanksgiving all to my American friends over there. I am Canadian, if you did not know. I was born in the States though, Redford Township. If anybody, that's where my mom's from, and moved here pretty much as a kid though, as a really youngster, maybe even a baby. But we lived in Buffalo, New York, Kenmore, New York to be exact, for a bit, and then I was born, and then we pretty much skedaddled to Canada because that's where my dad was from. He was from Windsor, Ontario. So I'm literally 15, 20 minutes away from Detroit, downtown Detroit. Literally, I'm 15, 20 minutes away. 20 minutes on a good day. So it's like, hey, man, that's the next game. The Bears, they've been playing a little bit better. We'll talk about them more coming up. They almost beat the Vikings. They had the Vikings. Caleb has been better the last two games since they've fired Shane Waldron, their old OC. So let's see what happens there. They've been playing better. And, our corners need to get healthy. We need to get to Caleb a little bit, too, because he's running, too, as well. But anyways, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for coming in and watching the video. I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Big win, guys. 10-1. Playoffs are pretty much a lock. It'd be impossible not to make the playoffs at this point. But the goal is to win the NFC North and then win in the NFC overall and get that first seed. We're a little bit away though. We got lots of football left. But thanks a lot, guys. Lions, Detroit versus everybody. Grit, baby. Let's go. Bam.